Ubisoft. Ubisoft over the years has become what may be described as the face of the 7 out of 10, a company not known for their greatest achievements, despite how they very well exist, but for putting out the exact same thing again and again, and again, and even again. Whilst I truly do love this company's games, even I have to admit, they are the absolute definition of missed potential. But this wasn't always the case. As I say, I love Ubisoft for the same reasons I kind of hate them now. They aren't so much a bad company as they are a disappointing one, and their games are constantly showing a ton of potential but just never fulfilling it. If asked nowadays what made the company famous in the first place, you get a number of different responses. Far Cry 3, Assassin's Creed 2, Splinter Cell, all commonly recognised games they've made, regardless of their individual flaws. But if you're old and wrinkly, the common answer may just be Rayman. Despite falling into obscurity in the last 2 decades, he was once the face of Ubisoft. The Prince of Persia series led towards success, spawning Assassin's Creed, and then Ubisoft just kinda put out B-tier open world games. But originally they were creators of Zombie and some other PC games. And Rayman. I honestly do believe that Rayman is genuinely one of gaming's best protagonists. Regardless of his games or popularity, there's just so much character compared to the others. All I'm saying is, Mario never snorted crack, Sonic never sang Sex Bomb, and Ratchet doesn't canonically have a massive penis.
Check it.
Oh, dope. Check this.
Yeah!
Oh, nice! 56 enormous levels, massive power-ups, outrageous enemies, huge features, huge game. Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc. Rated E for everyone.
Overall, Rayman always had that distinctive we don't give a fuck feel. By far the strangest and most 2000s mascot of all time, as well as just making zero sense. I mean, he is French. Obviously characters like Sonic and Crash are weird. Why is this hedgehog blue and fast? Have you ever seen a hedgehog? And why is that bandicoot wearing shorts? But Rayman, on the other hand, what even is this? The Rayman universe and its lore is so utterly batshit insane that this species of things are canonically referred to as thingamajigs. I'm not kidding. 80% of his face is a nose. He has no limbs. His hoodie has no bottom. It's a sleeping bag. Speaking of which, it's been stated many times across Rayman 3's marketing and Captain Laserhawk that Rayman has assets, and that begs the question, where are they? He doesn't have legs. Do they just float like the other limbs? Why is his hair like that? Why can it be used as a helicopter? And why are his arms often implied to have a mind of their own? Sorry, his hands. I forgot, he doesn't have arms. Are they different creatures? Rayman can play with his stomach like a ball. Why? Shouldn't it hurt? Is it attracted to him like a magnet? If Rayman falls over, do his limbs fall off? Does Rayman have his own magnetic field? What the fuck? Anyway, in 1995, some silly fella named Michel Ancel, who is so cool and awesome, from Montpellier, this place in France, put together a game called The Rayman. The Rayman was initially made for the SNES CD system, but that went about as far as the CD system itself. The more I looked into this SNES game, the more brain cells I lost. Rayman's beta stage was a frankly ridiculous looking game, and very different from what we got. Basically, imagine a French isekai. without limbs. A 10-year-old kid named Jimmy is sucked into his computer into a world he created called Here It's Cool, which he made with his computer. I haven't found out whether Rayman was supposed to be Jimmy inside the world, but considering the beta name is The Rayman, I assume Rayman was a side character and Jimmy the protagonist. So that was dropped. Sony's contract for the SNES CD was scrapped and Nintendo instead teamed up with Philips for high-power CD games. And we all know how that turned out.
You must die!
Beautifully. So instead, they decided to switch towards the Atari Jaguar, a console that could handle— oh, for God's sake! Anyway, the game was indeed released on the Jaguar, but was then moved over to the PlayStation as a launch title, because by the time Rayman was ready to launch, the Jaguar wasn't. I'd argue Rayman was the best game in the PS1's launch lineup, but whether or not it was depends on where you live. In case you're wondering, yes, he was supposed to have limbs. They were removed, either due to technical issues or because Michelle couldn't draw limbs. I don't know which, I've heard both. So yeah, overall, the game is pretty great. Genuinely beautiful pixel art, amazing soundtrack, and the gameplay... yeah. So, Rayman is notorious for the fact it was never play-tested. Like, at all. What this means is that it's insanely difficult and just borderline unfair. I think one of the worst parts is it's very clearly not intentional, and they genuinely thought they were making a game for young kids. So I felt fucking gaslit as to the kind of experience I was actually having. But, you know, there's always next time, and with the success of Rayman 1 being called the best-selling PS1 game of all time in the UK, and the second best in France, by the end of 1997, nearly 1 million had been sold. And a second game was indeed inevitable, but we'll talk about that some other time. Before we get into the absolute batshit story, I think we just need to talk about the way the game looks. A lot of people in the game space at the time were only looking towards 3D graphics, but let's be honest, this looks 1,000,000 times better than whatever the fuck this is. It is honestly beautiful, I would say one of the best looking games of the PS1, and in terms of 2D platformers, it's one of the best in the entire medium. In looks, that is. We'll get to the gameplay later. Not only are these individual sprites full of colour and personality, but there are so many layers to each scene that are just amazingly parallaxed to create this feel of a real, actual world. Other levels can be seen throughout as well, such as the forest being in the background of Bandland's early levels. And the world map is Mr. Dark's binoculars, which is really cool. And all of that isn't even mentioning just how creative the actual game is. Story. In all honesty, there isn't that much to Rayman in terms of story. There's a cutscene at the start of the game and one at the end. And the ending cutscene is like 5 seconds and it's just a screenshot from the opening with a fireworks effect on top.
You've done it. You've saved the world.
So, in the glade of dreams, the whole world lives in harmony and peace. Until it isn't. The life force of the world is in the hands of the great Protoon, defended by Batilla the Fairy until she is defeated by Mr. Dark, the most generic villain of all time. I mean, just listen to his name. What were they thinking? Who destroys the Protoon and enslaves the entire world? Well, I say enslave. He just kind of puts them in crates for no reason. In fact, what reason does he do any of this? He doesn't use them for anything. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Rayman is the only one left and has to save the day from the big evil. He does save the day, and saves the day. That's the story. Seriously, one cutscene at the start, one at the end. There's nothing more to it. By the way, I just need to say about one thing. This intro cutscene has a different voice actor from Europe and America. And even though I am biased, I don't care what anyone says, the American one sounds like absolute arse. Here, just listen.
Hi, folks. You want to know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman. Hi, folks. You want to know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman.
This guy sounds like my friend, welcoming me to a brand adventure. This one sounds like he's going to shoot me on horseback with a Twinkie and a burger in his mouth. Between the start and the end, the only thing close to a cutscene are these moments where you can find other characters and sort of talk to them, but they don't progress the story at all. It just gives Rayman more powers and very minute amount of world building. It is without a shred of irony or nostalgia at all that I call Rayman's OST the best on the entire PS1, and probably top 5 of all time in general for me. It hits every single beat it can, from a fast-paced intro welcoming you to the forest, to the absolute tune that is Bandland. The bosses, which all have unique and distinctly kick-ass tunes. Or just honest to God beauty in some of the later levels. It can be stressful and atmospheric too. It isn't just video gamey. And that's without even mentioning just how massive it is. Games don't tend to have large OSTs that are all standouts, but Rayman 1 is up there with Toby Fox's games in Final Fantasy VII as games that are both massive and consistently great with their OST, both with headbanging and the atmosphere. The main difference being that Rayman's OST is just not talked about enough in the gaming space. I implore you check it out for yourself. Oh, and this isn't even mentioning the ridiculous sound you hear at the end of every single level. Thank you, one and all, for watching Bowser Farts TV.
The IRS! Like that's not how the CMV! Like that's not how the fucking book works! The ATF! Holy shit, like you were right!
Hey, it's me, Dusty. I have this awesome second channel where I make music. You should go listen to some of it. It's awesome. It's so cool. Go listen to it. It is a free sample.
It's the Legend of Zelda, and it's really rad. Those creatures from Ganon are pretty. With your help, my hero pulls. With your help,
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy! If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
Thank you, one and all, for watching Bowser Farts TV. Now, at the start of the game, Rayman is an insanely simple platformer, on par with that of Super Mario Bros. On the NES. You can move, jump, and that's it. All four of the shoulder triggers just make him crawl left and right. I assume these double inputs had to do with the game originally being made for the SNES, which only had one set of triggers. Oh, and you can press circle! Yeah, what was that? Until literally 10 minutes in the game, Rayman has no punch and must defeat enemies by doing whatever that was, forcing them to run in one direction until they fall into water and drown. From PTSD, I guess. But in level 1 you get the punch. That ability is never used ever again. Good use of a quarter of the face pad. It's okay though, the triangle is another quarter, and it does nothing at all. The cross and square are jump and punch as you expect. Most interesting aspects of controls come down to the level design itself, but for the most part they are relatively tight, and do feel pretty good. It's about time we address Rayman's absolutely abhorrent difficulty scaling. This game is notorious for the fact it wasn't playtested, as earlier mentioned, which means that stuff like this happens, and this, and this. And that isn't even mentioning the fact that whilst the controls are good, they aren't that precise for this kind of level design. It feels great to control, but this is closer to Mario than Celeste. The game is nowhere near as precise and specific as it expects for some of the absolutely insane bullshit it throws at you in its second half. Because of that, I truly do think its first half is remarkably better than the second, as the levels feel better made for the character. But who cares about the experience of playing? Where can we play Rayman? Well, okay, so as mentioned, it was on the Jaguar and the PS1, but that isn't the only way to play it. Later it would get versions on the Sega Saturn, the DSi, and the 3DS. I distinctly remember a version on the Play Store a couple years ago, but for the life of me I cannot find it anymore. Was that official? Did it even happen? Am I insane? Where am I? No, seriously, where am I? Where... The mic just disappeared. Where the fuck am... Anyway, it got a remake for the GBA, which is absolute arse. The music is definitely the worst bit. Rayman's absolutely beautiful soundtrack was butchered here into... honestly, just listen. It speaks for itself. So, what's the best way to play the game? Well, the PS1 version if you're a purist, but in recent years fans have created a widescreen 60fps port to the PC, called Rayman Redemption. With that said, Redemption is more so a remake rather than a port. It adds new bosses, it extends certain levels, and it also has a couple changes, like having certain powers at the start of the game, like punching and gliding. It's also just generally a bit more forgiving, with lives less brutal, but the core game is still the same, and anything changed, I believe, is for the better. It does also have 3 different difficulty settings, so if you want the masochism of Rayman 1, you can get it if you want, but I wouldn't personally recommend it. On top of all of that, this is a free fan project, and it's open source, meaning anyone can play the best version of Rayman 1 for free. Ubisoft may have abandoned our boy, but it makes me so happy that even as recent as the late 2010s, and even in the past couple years, we still have fans making projects like this. And for years, Rayman 2 has been getting the same treatment, a dedicated group of fans trying to create the best version of the game because Ubisoft clearly doesn't care about him. Well, probably. I wrote the script before a bunch of stuff came out about how Ubisoft might be remaking some Rayman games, but you know, for our sake, we're just gonna hope that that does come to fruition. As far as I'm concerned, it's still up in the air. I don't really know how to write conclusions to videos, but let's wrap this up. Rayman is good, really good in fact. Should you play Rayman? No, play Rayman Redemption. Bye.
Smile me, baby.
Well, yeah, there scrolls the title stuff. Mostly, I'm liking this recent YouTube stuff, frankly. This is much more... I find that reviewing stuff is quite a bit more rewarding than shit posting. I am planning on making a follow-up to this video about the Rayman educational games that were based off of the first one. You know, Rayman Jr. and Rayman CP. That's its actual title, I did not make that up. this bit's unscripted. I'm just waffling, honestly. Thanks for watching. My channel is tiny. But yeah, I got more views than I was expecting on the Daggerfall video, which was really cool. And yeah, gained a couple of subscribers, which once again is very cool. So yeah, if you want to like and subscribe, I wouldn't recommend it. Not much. I mean, you can. I'm not your dad. You do what you want. Remember to subscribe to my OnlyFans. Bye.